Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. Today we are recording an EP with the Aletheia Band here in Richmond, Virginia. So what we're doing is we have 2 days to record everything, drums, bass, guitar, vocals, everything, and we're in a house. So I wanted to show you our setup on how we're recording drums in a non-studio environment, how we're recording guitar, vocals, just so you guys know you can do this at home, you can do this in environments maybe that's not suited for recording, and I just want you to be able to experiment. So let's look at the drums real quick. Everyone keeps asking about how do you mic drums. What we have is a basic 7-piece, I think we're only using 7-piece mic kit. So this is from Samson, it's a basic drum mic kit. We've got 2 overheads, these are large diaphragm. You can use those pencil diaphragm, the small ones, a lot of times on drums. That's just a preference thing. I like the sound of the big ones. I think you get more of the overall fatness of the kit. And so the goal here is start with these guys. Throw them up, put them, depending on how heavy the cymbals are, the higher you go, you're going to get less of the cymbal sound just overpowering them. So if the cymbals are just too loud, you want to make sure you bring them up, because ideally you want to throw these 2 up and be able to hear the whole kit cleanly. Don't even worry about the close mics to start out with. Just throw those guys up and see what it sounds like. Record a little bit and go, can I hear the snare? Can I hear a little bit of the kick? You know, you're not going to hear that low end, but does it sound like a drum set? And the idea is to make sure that they're not out of phase, and without getting technical, you just want to make sure that they're not too close to each other versus how far away from the snare they are. So when you throw them up, if you start to hear a weird, like, distorted effect, or sometimes it sounds like something's really hollow, you're having phasing issues. So you want to adjust the mics. There's lots of stuff on the internet about that, the 3-to-1 rule, all these certain things, but just start listening to it and see what you like when you throw it up there. But I always start with the overheads, and we've got them just right over covering this whole area, they're looking down. You could cross them, you could do it X, Y. There's a million ways to mic it, so whatever you want to do, make sure it sounds good. You can hear the kit, it's not rocket science. But we start with the overheads, and then we've got close mics. We've got a kick mic right down here. We were just talking with Gabe, the drummer, like if we had 2 mics, we could mic one inside, one outside the kick, and that would give you the sound of the beater head really inside, that attack, and then you could get a lot of the low end out here. We're only using 1 mic today, so we've got it right where it meets the sound hole. So he's pointed at the beater, so he's going to get some of that attack. You're going to hear it in the mic, but you're also going to get some of the air that's blowing on it, which gives it that nice resonance that you think of when you have a kick drum. So we're kind of have a compromise there, but it really actually sounds decent on that mic. And then everything else is just the close mic, 2 toms and a snare, and these are clipped on. And again, we were talking about if you angle the mics further down on the head, you're going to get more of the attack and less of the ring of the drum, and if you angle it more across the drum, you're going to get more of that ring. So we had to just throw them up. We recorded a few times, we listened back, and we didn't like the sound necessarily of the toms or the kick, and so we just adjusted till it sounded good. So again, it's not a formula, but you start with what you hear, and you listen to it and you tweak it till it sounds good. The other thing that we did is over here I've got a random room mic. So this is just another condenser. I'm going to use this for vocals all the time. But this is pointing right up at the wall and the ceiling where it meets in the corner. So his drums are slapping off this wall. And again, this is just the living room. This is just drywall. Slapping off of that, bouncing into this. So it's going to be a few milliseconds delayed from what the other mics are picking up. So it's going to have like this natural reverb sound. Now this isn't, you know, this nice grand studio where you have this really, really pleasing sound, but you'd be surprised at getting just some slapback on 1 mic or 2 mics and then mixing it in with the close mics and the overheads. It gives us some sense of space, and it like actually lets some of that air, that big fatness that we're hearing in the kit, like get mixed in with the real crisp close mic. So you could throw that up anywhere. I mean, you could put it down the hall, you could put it just right above the kit, just further away, and maybe mix one of those in. Depends on how many channels you have. So this is just 7 channels of drums, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. So we're just using 7 mics, and that's it. You don't have to use a ton. We could use fewer if we wanted to. We could just use overheads, kick, or overheads, kick, and snare. We don't have to mic the toms, because actually the overheads are really picking it up nicely. So the idea is just get the overheads to pick up the drum set. That's the way you hear it. You don't listen to drums like with your ear right on the snare drum, you know, like that's not what we're used to hearing. Those close mics are just to help really emphasize and bring out some of that fatness and it blended nicely with the overhead. So hope that helps. What I'm going to do is either on a video or right below this video on the blog, I'm going to post some live or some samples of raw drums that we just did right here in this living room. So unaffected, so you can just hear what it sounds like. You can hear how good we're getting this to sound in someone's living room. Okay, so stay tuned for some other videos. Thanks for watching again. This is Graham at therecordingrevolution.com, and send me some ideas if you have some better drum ideas or things you're doing when you're miking in your homes or in your basements or whatever. Thanks for watching.